Hey, what's up? I'm here with Mike and Johnny of the Street Dogs, one of my favorite bands. How are you guys?
We're doing good.
Doing great. Thanks.
I love the you were showing us the festival or the festive decorations you guys have here, and you were saying that this is the first time that you've brought Wreck the Halls to Canada, correct?
That is correct. Johnny had brought that up earlier.
Well, I mean, welcome to Toronto. It's good to have you guys up north again, and I know you're hockey fans, so good to have you here, even though you keep beating the Leafs, which angers me. You know, how's the tour going? I mean, how you guys? There you go.
Actually, we can
You want to bring it right over? There you go. We'll just keep it in the middle of the interview.
see it right here if you want to.
It's fantastic. It's signed as well, eh? That's great. Oh my God!
Can I do the interview like this the whole time?
Yeah, totally.
That might be a little bit too much.
I think you should just hold it the
we'll
entire
lose a lot
time.
of
Yeah,
fans,
no.
so, like,
Congratulations on the Stanley Cup.
thanks a lot.
We're going to talk about hockey in a second, but let's talk about music first.
Yeah.
How's the tour going? I mean, you know, you guys are the album's been out, I guess, for probably at least a year, right? So
Yes.
How you feeling with it now? Are you sick of the stuff yet? Are you having fun still?
The awesome part about this record is that we can. It seems like every tour, and this is the first record where this has happened. Every tour we can unleash like a song from the new record, and play it live, and it will inspire immediate reaction, and it's immediately fun for us to play as a band too. So we're totally like we're still working that new record, and we're still like we still consider it the new record, and we're still like super excited about it, and still excited to play different tracks from it. In fact, we have to like look at our set list every night to make sure that we're 5 records deep now, so it's like we have to make sure that we're keeping the old guard happy too, by doing enough evening out the set list to where everybody's happy with the songs. Because if we had it our way, we'd do the new record front to back.
You guys should do that, by the way.
Thank you.
But you mentioned you have 5 records, and Mike, maybe this is more of a question for you, but when Sullivan Hill came out, you guys didn't know, or you didn't know that it was going to go 5 records deep, right?
No way. I think when me and Johnny started the group, we were just looking to play some local shows, hang out, be bros, and have a good time. I think that's where we were at with it at the time. And often, I'll think back to those times just out of the blue and look at where we're at now and everything that we've gone through. And it just blows me away. Like, our expectations have been shattered and smashed and exceeded tenfold. We didn't have grand designs to be on 3 different labels and do the Warped Tour multiple times, or be going to Australia for the first time, or doing this or doing that, or even be in Canada for that matter. Yeah. So the level of gratitude that we have to be able to do this, to be able to record and to tour, and that people will take time and money out of their lives to come and see us. It's amazing. It never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when we first started talking about the band, it was really like we both had regular day jobs. Mike was on the fire department, and it was just kind of this thing where it was like, okay, we wanted to make a record. We both missed it. I was just saying this a few minutes ago. It's like I had the Bruisers with Al bar, and then Al went and joined the Drop Kicks, obviously with, he's my friend with my blessing and everything like that. And then but Mike was my friend because our bands used to play together, and it just seemed to make sense, like, hey, just for a hoot, let's make some music. And then once Savin Hill was made, we enjoyed playing shows and everything, but once Savin Hill was made, we did our record release show in Boston, and it was the first commercially available product, and it was probably a week, 2 weeks after the record came out, and from the stage all the way to the back of the room, the whole crowd just sang the record from front to back, and we were just like, what? Like, we just did it for ourselves, honestly. Like, that record was for ourselves.
You guys were meeting up late at night and working on it. He
would show up to rehearsal in Jeff Erna's basement in his fire gear on. You know what I mean? Like he would have. So yeah, it was just poker night. Yeah. That's how we always say it. It was poker night. So it was like, another reason for our wives to get angry at us. Like, hey, you're going out and you're playing your little thing with your friends or whatever. So we had no expectations for it. If we did, believe me, we would have changed our band name by now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And it's like, we didn't think anything of it. And then one show became 2 and became 3, and then it was like,
5 albums in.
Yeah, yeah. And literally there was a time where we would say, like Mike was saying, there was a time where we would say, I don't care if there's 5 kids in that room tonight, although I know that's not going to be the case, but to me, even now, almost 10 years into it, I go, holy crap, 5 kids in Toronto know who the Street Dogs are and know our songs? This is crazy. Like, I still have that. I still have that outlook on it.
Mike, I really wanted to ask you, I've interviewed a lot of bands, and, as I get older, I feel like, no one's saving lives. No one's, it's just music. And I feel like a lot of people take themselves really seriously, but maybe they don't need to take themselves so seriously. And you're a firefighter, so my go-to line is always like, well, you're just in a band. You're not jumping out of buildings, burning buildings, saving people. I know that being a firefighter was a dream for you, and I just wondered, when you accomplished that dream, how did it feel great? What was it like being a firefighter? And what did it do for you musically?
I think my Uncle Kevin, God rest his soul, who passed away, was a big power of example for me growing up. Yeah. When I would visit his firehouse, Engine 18 in Peabody Square near Ashmont Station, I was enamored and taken by it all. To me, they were giants. They were superheroes. Like, I mean, in my way of thinking as a kid, they had capes on. And as I got older, it was a job in my community and neighborhood that had standing, and it was the type of job where you were intervening and helping people out in obviously very difficult times. So to be able to get on the job and do it for 4 years was an amazing experience, and a dangerous experience, and a fulfilling experience. And I still have a lot of close ties with guys on the job, and what's happened from the band touring all over the world is that firefighters from all various different cities will come up to me and say, hey, thank you for writing Jake's on Savin Hill. Thanks for Kevin J. O'Toole on State of Grace. Here's a t-shirt. Can you tell me where to get a Boston t-shirt? If I have one in my bag, I'll toss it to the guy or the girl. You know what I mean? Now you have guys and girls on the job, all over the world, and it's like one big fraternal organization that stretches, just beyond the city of Boston. It's everywhere, and I'm grateful for my time on the job, and I'm also grateful to be in this band and to be able to sing about what we sing about and do what we want to do, which is really difficult in the music business, for sure. It stretched out into the music. It stretched out into the lyrics, and yeah, it's a profound experience in my life for sure.
I guess we'll come back to the music, I guess, and I want to talk about Freedom on the new record. You guys put that song towards Tibet.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you follow the Street Dogs, you know that politically charged songs is not something that, it's on every record. But just tell me a little bit about that song and that decision. Why you guys decided to put that, because it was one of those topics that I felt was like, oh yeah, we heard about it all the time when Beastie Boys were talking about it, and then you kind of forgot about it for a bit.
It's funny because and a lot of people affiliate or associate us with issues that are going on in America, to which obviously we don't consider ourselves like a political band per se. It's like most of the songs that are charged by labor or anything remotely associated with politics is all based out of personal experiences. with that kind of lifestyle. But with the Tibetan thing, it was where it was a human rights thing, and it was definitely one of those like, you know, look, we're not trying to be like punk rock Bono here or right, you know, anything like
Just
that.
throwing on the shades.
But yeah,
No fly wraparound shades.
but at the same time, it was like this was an issue that our government was very afraid to talk about because politically, because China owns so much of the United States now, and in fact, it didn't make much news, but you know, the government, even our current government, is not actively pro freedom for Tibetans, and it was just kind of one of those things where we didn't want to really. Heidi, who had put that together, was really, I mean, it's very near and dear to her heart, so she really put it out there, pushed it out there. We wanted to lend our voice and our song, although the song was not written for that. It became that. So it was sort of like this. It was this thing, and then we felt, and we really got behind it because it does affect America and how Americans looked at things, because our jobs are being resourced to China, and the reason why there's such this weird political conflict between, you know, the U.S. and America and freedom for Tibetans and stuff like that is because the United States government doesn't want to piss off the Chinese government, you know, and it's just too sensitive an issue, and it sucks because we're talking about the basic human rights of another people. That being said, though, we really don't want to be the Bono punk band for sure.
Well, I mean, you have a song called "Don't Preach."
Yeah.
So I mean,
Well, I think with us, we've stepped up for causes that we felt were important to us, but we haven't attempted to indoctrinate anybody or
you're not throwing it down people's
exactly
throats, yeah.
People can think, feel, and do and say whatever they want to. I mean, those are the tenets of democracy and freedom in the First Amendment, and not everybody's going to like our band. I don't think there's any band that you can reference that everybody out there likes. You know, there'll be people who dislike us and people who like us, but it's important for us to do the right thing by our music and say and play what's on our minds, what's in our hearts, what's in our souls, what's in our spirits, and put that out there honestly, and put that out there without fear. And that's bold. You will take hits for that.
Yeah.
And we have. And I don't have a problem with that.
Well, let me ask you this. You know, do your Irish values, let's say, or your Bostonian values ever clash with your punk rock values? Because if you look at the new record, let's say, and come back to what you were talking about, you know, we don't want to be that band that's Bono, we don't want to be U2, but you know, you'll go from Up the Union to punk rock and roll. So I mean, it's a serious song about serious stuff into a really fun song and a great song, and yeah, I just wonder how you balance the two, because yeah,
It's
if you
one and the same from where we're at, it's one and the same. It's that's the beauty about New England in general, is that it's like the punk rock scene is not. It's not about a dress code or I don't know how to describe it. It's about being yourself, you know, but it's very working class. It's very generally speaking. I'm not saying it's all like that, but it's like, you know, we call it we call the towny tuxedo, the Adidas track pants with the shell toes on or whatever, and the
Canadian tuxedo is jean jacket, jeans, all jeans.
yeah.
Stupid.
But it's like, so it's not like it's not, you know, most punk rock scenes are, you know, fuck the world, which whatever. Some of us get behind. I do. Maybe not so much as Mike. You know, I'm way more of a pessimist than Mike is. He's more of an optimist, and but that's what kind of the sum of all its parts of the group or whatever that makes it what it is it, and really our music scene and our community where we're from into the music. In believe me, in any other city in the world, you would not find a guy like Mike McColgan fronting a punk rock band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's not the same type of community.
Did you ever get flack for? I mean, I know you were in the military, and I know you guys are, I mean, you had this veteran aid, and I just thought it was like, in the punk rock world, somebody must have got pissed, somewhere, you know.
I'm a really patient person, and I'm pretty reasonably versed in speaking on veterans issues. I mean, I'm not an expert. I have to remain teachable and, have an open mind. So, yeah, there's been times at shows, throughout the U.S., Europe, and even up here in Canada and other places, that people have taken exception with, maybe some of the lyrics or, what they think is a pro-war depiction, like in Back to the World, the video, for example.
Exactly.
There's imagery in there that people think that we're, pro-war or getting behind war. We're not. Yeah. We're not. It's a pro-human being song. I was deployed in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and I was in the Army, and it doesn't make me better than anybody else or special or a hero. Or, it's just a decision I made. I wanted to join, and that gives me a basic understanding of what it's like to be away from family, friends, home, community. It gives me an understanding of what it's like to be in really stressful situations where your life is at risk. It gives me the experience to be in a land where you are not wanted, you're a necessary evil. That's a much deeper discussion that would take a long, long time.
I mean, some of the heaviest discussions I've gotten with Mike, he's one of my best friends. So it's like when I get in these discussions with personal discussions, like some of the heaviest things are like, you don't realize, but if there's dissent amongst the men out there are a lot of guys that are saying, that start to doubt what it is that they're doing. And the way Mike always explains it to me and other soldiers that we meet along the way, it's like that's a thought process that can get you killed. Totally. So it's sort of like you can't get into the politics or the right and the wrong of it in that aspect. When we do charitable stuff for the troops, it has nothing to do with the right, the wrong, or the indifferent of the war. It has to do with those individuals that wanted to sign up to protect the country, that wanted to sign up for all the right reasons. In hindsight, maybe they'll come out and say, I was brainwashed by the American news media. Maybe they'll come out and they'll say, I fully believed in that. Maybe they'll come out and say, who knows? Yeah. But it doesn't change the fact that they're putting their lives on the line, and there's a hell of a lot of problems going on with what they're being provided, what they're coming home to, and so forth and so on.
Yeah, it's very well put.
If anybody wants to really fire back, they can go to American Dream, and that was during the Bush administration. There's the flip side of that coin, but I want to talk about hockey because...
No, you go back to that.
Yeah.
I want to give that a little bit of time. Faden, American Dream. A lot of bands left that stuff alone. That was the road less traveled at the time to tackle some of the things we tackled. And I'm not giving ourselves credit for that. I'm just pointing that out. And
it's the other side of the coin. I mean, you literally were singing against the administration. And
we were all, Johnny, myself, and the guys in the band, we were legitimately pissed off. And that album is a clear reflection of that. And it's insane how now in 2011, how that album...
Everybody's talking about the Fading American Dream. Like, if we had come out with the Fading American Dream right now, everybody would absolutely signed on. Where do I sign my name? But the way that we were looking at it then was that was the beginning of the Fading American Dream,
Yeah. And we're talking about potentially, in New York City, going down to Occupy, playing a couple acoustic songs, and cool. Fading American Dream was one of those songs that we were talking about doing. And then there's a B-side from the newer record called Greed. And Greed's put us in an awful bit of a pickle, you know.
It
not
has.
Not only in the U.S. but here as well.
Yeah, hey man, it's we're no different. I mean, we're neighbors.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got a conservative up in office right now. Not too many people are happy about that.
You know, conservative, just less guns, I guess.
Yeah. That actually freaks me out, man. When I go to the States, I'm like, okay, like everybody all of a sudden has a gun. Is that? Yeah, I guess so. No, maybe.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it varies. I think it would vary from city to city and
Yeah,
state to state.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's safe to say there's a lot of artillery in America.
Yeah.
Okay, let's lighten the load.
Michael Moore would agree with that.
Yeah, he'd be all in that for sure. Let's lighten the load. We're getting pretty heavy.
Yeah, we are.
Boston Bruins. You guys
Hold
have
on,
the.
I'm getting hot in here, man.
Yeah, I saw that, man. I saw that.
This jacket's killing me.
I saw a game in Boston and I loved it. I had a great time. I got to go to Fenway Park. I got to go to the TD place. It was a great place. You guys got to play Fenway with Shamrock and Roll. How cool was that? That's like awesome.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there?
Yeah, it's just a dream come true. I mean, like, you know, I mean, just seeing the Sox in my lifetime win the World Series and like seeing my father, who I've seen cry once in his life, cry because his own father wasn't alive to see that happen. And it's such a like an important historic event for our region. And when the band first started getting steam in Boston, somehow we got Mike to do the national anthem.
At Fenway?
At Fenway,
Yeah.
and this is before
2003.
you know, championships. So he
A little bit of luck.
well.
The curse of the luck.
But just I remember that day, and I remember like walking on the field and like just standing on the field. We did the same thing like as we were about to take the stage on that thing. It was like we were standing on the field of Fenway Park and just looking, you know, and it was just
Unreal.
I mean, yeah, strike me dead now, or whatever. Hey, the band's breaking up tomorrow. Cool. It pretty much didn't get any better than that.
How many other Boston bands can say they played Fenway Park?
Yeah, seriously. Well, I guess anybody on that tour, but
Yeah,
other than
it's
that,
big house, but,
yeah.
I mean,
Springsteen did it. I think Springsteen did it.
he's from Jersey.
Yeah, so he doesn't.
He's the pride of
Yeah.
Jersey. It's just, I'm speechless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hallowed ground.
Last question. I asked you this down in Vegas on Warped Tour, and I'm just interested in Johnny's opinion on this and yours as well on camera. You know, there's obviously the Irish influence, and you know, when I was growing up, my parents used to listen to diddly Irish music. I used to hate it, and then as I got older, I sort of connected to it, and I put two and two together, and you could see where punk and folk totally lined up. And I just curious as to, you know, if it was at all similar in that sense. You know, did you always listen to that sort of stuff? You know, did you listen to the Pogues when you were growing up?
Yeah.
For sure, more so than Mike, because my mother was British, and when she was in college, she loved the Clancy Brothers.
Cool.
But she went to see Simon and Garfunkel was her first show, and Clancy Brothers were opening, and I don't remember how she phrased it, but there was some sort of "death to the Queen" type of comment made, and if you're and at the time she was a citizen of Great Britain, even though we have the Irish bloodline as well, it's kind of like this it was this sort of mixture of you know, essentially the Clancy Brothers at that time. It was very, very tense in the 1960s, and but they said, you know, if you support the Queen, or if you're, you know, whatever, if you're British, you can get the F out right now or whatever. And my mom's crying, and she was all upset.
Horrible story.
But it was still like a very important music growing up. I know with Mike, his story runs much deeper with the Irish music.
I mean, it was there, right?
When I was growing up as a wee fellow in Dorchester, Mass, which is, you know, inside Boston. I grew up under the specter of John F. Kennedy being over my shoulder, and Irish music, Wolf Tones,
Yep.
Dubliners, Clancy Brothers. I every Sunday in my Uncle John's kitchen on Sydney Street in Savin Hill, they'd be bumping McNamara's band. So, and there was a deep parochial pride in that. And there was a connection by, the Irish family members who had come over here to the United States, to Ireland. And you could feel that, and it was palpable, and it was tangible and real. So you grew up with that, and you'd listen to it, and then the Pogues come along. And for me, that Irish folk music that I had heard growing up was there, and it had gone into a head-on collision with punk rock. And Shane MacGowan was I think one of the architects of that. Mm-hmm.
You ever cross paths with Shane?
Johnny had. I briefly did, and he was drunk. And
it's one of those, like, it's not, he'll never, yeah.
You can leave it at that. That's fine.
You can never recollect, but what a legend,
Mike, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean,
you had the connection. You were
connection was there, and then when DKM started, I think Irish music had a profound impact on me and Kenny, so it was only natural to breathe that into Dropkick Murphys, and then me and Johnny, we start Street Dogs up in late 2002, early 2003, and we're both huge fans of the Pogues and Shane MacGowan's poetry, and then the phenomenal, exceptional musicianship of the musicians in that group.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's the discography of the Pogues is timeless and phenomenal, and you'd be hard pressed to find any other band that could match that.
He's still going, which is
the
miracle.
Pogues are still going. Even,
Yep.
But although you hear,
and the Popes are also doing their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, like, as important the Pogues were, and but when you see retrospective on 60s folk music in general, it's like so much of that is inspired by Irish folk music.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan will cite the Clancy Brothers as and other Irish folk musicians as like some of his influences, right up there with Guthrie, and and that's a huge influence on us too. And also I feel like the again it's more Irish music, but Stiff Little Fingers and like bands like that really had a profound impact on
a lot of bands, yeah.
And even groups of our generation. I honestly feel like without Swingin' Utters, even the Swingin' Utters did so much for the Murphys back in the day. Swingin' Utters are one of my favorites of all times, and they really did. They started to do a lot of that even before the Murphys, with taking sort of Irish music and
even No Use for a Name covered Fields of Athenry. I mean, it's totally Swingin' Utters is a great actual example of that, actually.
And it's kind of that Shane MacGowan-ish growl as well. But yeah, I mean the thing about Street Dogs and that we say all the time is, like, we could listen to a Woody Guthrie or Bob Dylan song and just be completely inspired. Or I know Chuck Reagan inspired. I heard this B-side from him yesterday where I was just like, oh my God, the writing is just unbelievable. And so you can be inspired by that. But then we could put on an SSD control, like Boston straight edge hardcore music from the early 80s, and just kind of be like, yeah, man, let's take somebody's head off.
Yeah.
Or like whatever, and we'll do it, and that's what we really with this booming of folk punk rock.
Yeah.
we have the amazing ability, because we've been doing it since we started, to do that.
Yeah, totally.
But then if we're like Tim Barry and Avail's one of my, Avail's one of my faves. They're unbelievable band.
Prosser's Gabriel, man, what a tune.
I'm gonna go and see Tim Barry, and I know I'm gonna hear kind of acoustic folk songs, which is rad. But man, what I wouldn't give to hear an old Avail song in that set, as well as, you know what I mean. So that's
We'll do both.
I'm stoked that we can do that in our band.
It's one and the same. It's music, guys. Thanks so much. It was nice to talk to you guys.
Oh, no
Thank
problem.
you for the time.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
You guys zoom in on this too if you can.
Yeah.